John Felt here, and this is the Blue Water Outlook Weekly Weather Briefing for the 19th of April 2025. It's Easter weekend. Now, some parts of the country, it is going to be a soggy, wet Easter weekend. I'll be talking about that in today's briefing. Let's get started. Well, first of all, this is where we have our greatest impacts this week. We have flood watches and warnings up in this area. We have a main stem river flood coming down the Mississippi, and we have severe storms over the next couple days, including this enhanced risk on Easter Sunday across the middle part of the nation. Now, some of this rainfall is going to exceed 4 or 5 inches. That's going to result in the potential for significant flash flooding, especially in that area of red. So last week we had a fairly active week across many parts of the nation. The orange triangles are large hail, blue is snow, green is heavy rain, and yellow is damaging winds. And if you look closely, look at southeast Nebraska, parts of North Dakota, those were tornadoes. So what we have here is we have a very high precipitable water, and this is one of my favorite indicators for identifying where we're going to get the heavy rain. If you get this up above climatology by a lot and you get a trigger, which we're going to have both, we have both, this is going to be where our risk of heavy rain is, right down that axis of high precipitable water. Now we can also take a look at dew point. Dew point is only at the Earth's surface, whereas precipitable water goes all the way up. And this could be an indicator of heavy rain, but not always, because you can have dry air aloft. Precipitable moisture is really when we're looking at that risk of heavy rain. Now, this is what we had last week. We begin to set up the stage for that additional heavy rain over the central U.S. Had some snow up in this area, cold rain as well. Now, what about snow? Well, we're still getting snow at higher elevations of the Rockies, and we still are getting some lighter snow for the most part along the Great Lakes, a little bit more on the lee side of the Great Lakes. And then New England, we're also getting some snow last week in that area. Now, last week I talked about maybe losing some data, and unfortunately it does look like we have lost some significant and very important data from the regional climate centers. Unfortunately, they have climate in their name, which didn't help, but this is very operational real-time data, so I use this for a lot of different purposes, and I'll be looking around to see if there's any other place I can find this. So far I have not been successful, so it's really a shame that we're losing this very valuable operational data that helps us make informed decisions. Okay, so we look at soil temperature, and let's keep an eye sort of on the 50-degree line, sort of right through here. And why? Well, first of all, that's sort of a general rule of thumb for germination of field crops, but also once we get that, I think we start to change the runoff characteristics and we really get things growing more vigorously, and then we get surface friction, we get increased evapotranspiration, and it takes a while for that water moisture that falls to get into rivers. So right now it's just on the threshold we have that axis of heavy rain, and that's why I think there's going to be more runoff. Okay, so this is the action spot. We have two different hydrologic issues going on. We have the lower Ohio into the lower Mississippi from past rain that was over this area, and then now what we're having is this additional rain over this area to the west. Now, these are tributaries. This is coming in south of St. Louis, and these are coming into the lower Mississippi. So that's going to bring a flood wave coming down here on top of the flood wave that's coming down here. So what's that going to do? Well, it's not going to affect the Ohio, and then this area is not too bad a shape, the main stem Mississippi. But what it's going to do is it's probably going to extend and broaden the flood crest on the lower Mississippi. That's just sort of Memphis on south. It's just getting down there. So that's going to be a broad crest. We'll bring more water down, so that'll broaden that crest and probably make it a little bit later as well. So here's the packet of energy, the area of energy that's going to shoot out of here over Easter, next 24 hours or so, giving us severe storms and heavy rain. And then what we're going to have here, as far as temperature goes, some cooler air behind it. But then as we get towards week 2 and the rest of April into early May, it looks like, at least if the models are correct, most of the nation is going to be above normal. Now, I know many parts of the nation have not consistently really gotten into spring. I know buying some plants this week, I was talking to a local grower, and he was talking about how nighttime low temperatures have been cooler than normal, and that's really slowed things down. Now, again, we lost that data from the data centers, so it's hard for me to easily get information to show you that. That would have been nice to have. So, again, I'll be looking around. Maybe there's something else out there I can substitute. Okay, so here's the bullseye right in here this week. Everything else looks pretty quiet. And if you're in that area, Texas, Oklahoma, parts of Arkansas, Kansas, and Missouri, a very heavy rain and a flood threat. Any snow? Well, we're still looking at parts of Colorado and parts of the Southwest, South Central, and the Rockies region for some late season snow. And for Easter plans, well, anywhere here in the central U.S. and in the Northwest, many parts of the nation, looks like there will be some precipitation, mostly rain, but a little bit of snow. Southeast looks pretty good. Southwest looks pretty good. Okay, so let's go to week 2 here. What are we looking at? Well, big area of above normal temperatures, and here's our precipitation. That's this week's weather briefing. I hope it helps you in your planning. Have a great Easter weekend and a great Easter Sunday. Take care.